Hi, my name is Kayla Jutzi. I'm an instructional design student in my last semester and former employee of the George Washington University School of Nursing. For my needs assessment project, I chose to work with a client who needs a training for faculty on using eValue. eValue is a software used by GW to track nurse practitioner clinical hours based on the time they've spent at that clinical site, the types of patients they see, the diagnoses they give, and the system can be used to collect evaluations from both the preceptors and the students. So why a needs assessment? Not only was this a course project, but I've learned from my time at GW that training and using systems properly can be a real challenge. eValue is one of the systems that we use, but not well. Another reason is that responsibilities are unclear. As a staff member, my main responsibility was to create user accounts and send passwords to students and faculty. However, I also received many troubleshooting requests that I felt I could not handle on my own, nor did I have the type of routine access to eValue to really know the system well. Lastly, I feel that workload is unequal. As a staff member, I was responsible for assisting 350 or more students, while faculty generally have about 10 students in their clinical courses per section. Therefore, conducting this needs assessment for both training and non-training needs is imperative to the longevity of the program as it continues to grow. When conducting my needs assessment, I sent a survey to 17 current full-time faculty and part-time faculty. In the survey, I asked questions related to business needs. What are the current expectations of faculty? What do we do with the clinical hour data? I asked questions related to performance needs. Are resources available for faculty, and how do faculty and staff work together? Next, I asked questions related to learning needs. How do faculty rate their experience with eValue? What do they consider their level of expertise? Lastly, I asked questions about learner needs. What type of trainings or job aids would help best? For example, would they want a face-to-face training, an online training, a self-paced training, or job aids? In an eValue analysis, I wanted to know, does the system provide training? Are there tutorials available? What are the videos like? And lastly, I asked my client what the ideal performance situation really is. What are the types of issues that come up the most with students, and what would really help the clinical placement office to be the most productive and the most efficient in terms of assistance with eValue? There are 3 valuable lessons that I learned from this project. The first is to maintain constant communication with your client. The second is to ensure buy-in from senior leadership. And the third is to ensure that there are policies and procedures in place for your project. In regards to constant communication, in this project I learned that talking with my client often was very helpful. We were able to discuss issues we were having in order to craft our questions that would really dig into the problem and hopefully find answers. I also reached out to my client for feedback on each part of my project. For the second lesson, buy-in, I learned that it's going to be really important to gain buy-in from leadership as well as program directors so that we're all on the same page. If my client supervisor does not support the recommendations, it really will hinder the success of our project. My last lesson relates to policies and procedures for the project. Before a training can be created, my client is going to need to work with leadership to determine how faculty and staff are going to work together to help students with logging their hours in eValue. She will want to determine what areas should faculty be responsible for and what areas should staff assist with. There are some faculty members that agree that they should help students, while others are determined that it's not their role at all. But again, 350 students versus 10 to 12 is a big difference when you're considering the workload. In addition to responsibilities, faculty also need to be on the same page in regards to clinical experience. From my data, I learned that faculty know what we're using this data for in the big picture in regards to clinical hours, while others are just not sure what's going on. So how can you apply my lessons in your own project? First, build relationships with your client. Once that foundation is set, the constant communication will come easy. Second, ensure that the client is able to get buy-in from his or her managers. Work with your client to create a communication strategy that will help build that support and ensure buy-in. Without that, the project may not go in the direction that you want. For example, I'm not sure how my client supervisor is going to take my recommendations. She may support that faculty need to be trained on the system and everyone needs to pitch in, or she may agree with the few faculty that they want a dedicated staff member to handle all of it. I've created a communication strategy that provides clear objectives and key messages, as well as data to support those messages. Lastly, policies and procedures can be helpful when determining who is responsible for what. The bigger picture is going to affect my project significantly, and it's very clear from this needs assessment that training and non-training needs are necessary, as well as clear guidelines on how the faculty are going to assist students. Thank you so much for watching my video. On this slide is my contact information. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions at all. Thank you.